Welcome back, folks. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of In the Round with Andrew Taylor and Lee. Thank you for tuning in again. Actually, we'd like to get that out of the way right off the bat. But let me introduce to you the former House of Representatives Speaker, Mr. Lee Tonin.
What I can do for you is what you can do for me. Welcome to another Sunday and In the Round.
A troubled man for troubled times.
That's right. Elect me and I'll do absolutely nothing for you. So that,
money.
You won't be able to say I did anything wrong because I did nothing.
How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's Sunday. It's a beautiful day out.
It
We're out
is.
here hanging out, talking about some fun stuff.
For those that don't know, we are located in Phoenix, Arizona, it's more specifically, and we have been getting rained out the past few days, actually.
Beautiful.
It seems like it's been a while since it's been
beautiful.
this nice of a day, you know? Especially for this time of year. It's pretty nice. It's actually, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, so.
You can almost do that all year long in Arizona. It's
For
just
the
not-
most part, yeah.
We had some cold weather, though, a couple days ago. It was getting
That's right.
quite nippy out there.
That's true. It got
and
a little.
we got some fog.
And wind and all that. Oh, yeah, the fog's crazy.
I
you
love
know?
fog.
We didn't
I
really
love-
get that in Vegas where I'm from, so.
I wish it was like this, like 6-7 months out of the year.
It would be cool, not gonna lie.
yeah.
It's pretty cool. But the rain, what sucks about the rain is that it can just mess up stuff just enough to where everything's wet, you know, and our parking lot kind of is like, it's not paved as smooth as it,
It fills up with a little water.
Yeah,
in
it's
there.
got some puddles and stuff, so you got to watch where you're stepping sometimes.
You got to be careful out
Yeah.
there. You're going to get yourself in some trouble.
Yeah, so, all right, guys, let's get right into it. We have our odd news segment, and the first story headline reads, Freddie the Great Dane, tallest dog in the world, dead at 8 years old.
Oh,
January 30th, which was yesterday, Freddie, a Great Dane known as the tallest dog in the world, has passed away. Guinness World Records, which conferred the tallest dog honor on Freddie in 2016, announced Freddie's passing in a press release on Wednesday. He was 8.5 years old. When measured by a veterinarian and the book's editor-in-chief, Freddie stood at 3 feet 4 inches from foot to withers, the withers being the tallest part of a dog's shoulder.
yeah, that's up to your withers.
You know
yeah.
somebody with the Great Dane. Those dogs are huge,
Yeah,
man.
they're bad. They're really cool dogs. A friend of mine had one that passed away at a year
Yeah,
old.
I remember, yeah.
And they call the Great Dane, what the nickname for the Great Dane is?
No, I do
The
not.
heartbreed breed.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They
yeah.
don't live.
yeah.
They don't live to be very old.
Yeah.
I think if you get one that lives to be 12, 13 years old, that's pretty long.
Oh, man.
Life expectancy for a dog. But they are really neat. They're just so big. It's scary.
So standing on his hind legs, the dog was he was 7 feet and 5.5
That's
inches
big.
tall. Yeah, man. That's
I wonder if
that's
that's that
basketball.
dog.
That's
I wonder if it's that dog you see on Facebook, that real big one.
maybe it's a Great Dane.
Yeah.
So
I like those dogs. It's
know.
too bad. I'm sorry to hear about Freddie.
yeah, yeah. You know, that's too bad. He lived in Essex, England, actually, with his
okay.
family. You know, so.
Oh, rest in peace, Freddie.
It cost the family about $123 a week to feed him on a diet consisting of whole roast chickens and peanut butter on
Jeez.
toast. Yeah, he's a big dog, man.
Jeez.
He's like sitting on the ottoman in this photo next to the lady in the chair, and he's huge. He's
Oh
gigantic.
my God! Yeah, look at that
Yeah.
thing.
So
The first time
If you
I
get a
ever
chance,
seen
check him
one
out.
was at another friend's house in high school, and I didn't know she had these dogs.
Oh, yeah?
And she goes, "I'm gonna let the dogs in," so I'm expecting a couple. And I was sitting in a like a lazy boy chair.
came and tackled you.
No, it came and walked up to the right side of me, and I looked over, and the dog's head was taller than mine.
It scare
sitting-
you?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
They look mean as hell, but you know what? They seem to be really
Nice.
temperamented
Yeah.
dogs. So that's, yeah.
Here's another funny story. Speaking of animals, a dog or any kind of animal. Headline reads, Dr. Doolittle returned to Canadian Library after 82 years of being overdue.
The book?
Yeah.
You hear about people doing that.
So
return,
this
that'd be
happened.
some late fees.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I wonder how that happens. How does that go down? Do they actually charge you?
No, I would imagine.
You don't
they
think so?
No. Although the library can be really
They
aggressive.
can come
with
after
They
you.
can come after
if
you
they
yeah.
really want to. If you owe them a lot, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's been people that have gotten themselves in a lot of trouble with. They check out if you ever check out a book from the library and
Yeah.
you lose it. It's
Oh, it's
outrageously expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, so
and you can't
back-
just go buy a book and say, "Here it is."
Back to the story. January 29th in Nova Scotia, Canada, the library there said a book was returned 82 years after being overdue after the homeowner found it stashed away in his attic. So the Cape Breton Regional Library said the book, The Adventures of Dr. Dolittle by Hugh Lofting, was returned to McConnell Sydney Library 82 years after it was checked out from the Sydney Public Library. The book was returned by Jordan Musicin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct.
Probably not.
Probably not. That's what, that happens a lot on this show. A Sydney man who found it while renovating his century-old home. So that's an old house, man.
You know what I find amazing is that the library was open for 82 years.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
It says he said they were putting a fan in the bathroom, so they had to cut a hole in the roof while they were up in the attic and found a bunch of old books. Dr. Dolittle stood out because it bore markings from the Sydney Public Library. This one had an old library card from 1939, and I just thought it was interesting because it was the same week the library had abolished their fines.
Huh.
Wow, so that's pretty cool.
So they don't have fines at
Yeah,
it.
that's pretty cool.
Huh. That's
so
weird.
library officials said the old Sydney Public Library had burned down in 1959.
Oh.
Destroying most of its books. They said the tome returned by what was his name?
Mr. Sumi?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It might not have survived if it had been returned on time.
And I wonder if the book is worth anything because
Well-
first print books are usually worth
right?
something.
Yeah. So they said, assuming a charge of 15 cents a day, if we had charged a late fee, it would have amounted to about $3,000. Yeah. So now the family is trying to get in touch with the family of the girl who checked the book out in 1939 to learn more about its journey.
More than likely, she's probably not around anymore.
Probably
so,
not. Yeah. That's pretty old. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Here's a local story that happened here in Phoenix, and this
Uh-oh.
happened on January 28th. No, this is actually a good story.
Okay.
Phoenix fire crew uses ladder truck to visit hospitalized coworker. January 28th, an Arizona firefighter recently hospitalized with COVID-19 received an unusual visit from his coworkers when they used a ladder truck to drop by his window.
Aw.
So Dan Volko, a 20-year veteran of the Phoenix Fire Department, said he was hospitalized when his case of COVID-19, to which he was exposed to while on the job, turned severe.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was on the 10th day I noticed that my hands and feet started to get blue. My lips started to get blue.
Wow.
Yeah, so he said his spirits were lifted one day by an unexpected visit. I was lying in bed and there was this beeping sound. He said there's a very distinct beep when you back the truck up. And he's like, that sounds a lot like a fire truck. So, he got up to look out his window and discovered some crewmates had backed up the ladder truck to the window and was visiting and waving at him.
I wonder if it's one of the fire trucks. I bet it is. That's been in our shop for
Probably.
Because we do a lot of maintenance on Phoenix's fire trucks. Mm-hmm. And I learned something last week.
What are they, Pierce's or what are they?
No, we do E1s, but a lot of. There's a bunch of different brands. But I did learn something the other day because I had lunch with our fire truck salesman the other day. Because I sell street sweepers, he sells fire trucks, and I never knew the difference between a platform truck and a ladder truck. The ladder truck has got the ladders that just shoot out.
See, I've gone up on a ladder truck before.
Did you go up on a ladder truck?
I went up on a platform. It had a bucket on it.
Yeah, the platforms are ones that actually have a platform.
Have a boom lift
which I
on
thought
it,
they were
yeah.
all ladder trucks. I didn't know but there's actually a difference.
Dude, we actually...
And then you have a pump truck, and then you have an emergency vehicle truck.
We actually got the opportunity to go up on one. My first night on air in Las Vegas, after my first night on air, I went back to a remote location at Fire Station number 6 in Las Vegas with the morning show I was on to do a remote there. And the fire chief of that station, Lou, was retiring that day. It was his last day, official day, and he was like, "You guys want to go up in the ladder truck?" And we went up in it, full gear and everything, and climbed up the whole thing to the basket.
Oh, you had to climb up the ladder to
Oh
the
yeah,
basket?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and we have video of it somewhere on my social media. You can find it out. But that's back in the Comp 92.3 days.
Occasionally, our fire truck guy will need help picking one up or something.
Yeah.
And he'll let me drive one back. But the first thing they tell you when you get in them is they're like, "Don't play with the sirens. And don't play with the radios."
Yeah.
And they drive. They're what they call a pusher vehicle. They have the engines in the back of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of neat when you drive them because they're actually pretty fast. For a big truck, they've got a lot of pickup to them, a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Or what do you call that? Get to go.
Yeah.
But what's really neat about it, and they don't tell you not to play with this, is on the floorboard of the one I was driving, there's a little button, or like a little foot switch.
Yeah.
And you hit it and it does that.
That's cool.
Oh, it's so cool. You pull up to a light and you do that, and people move over and get out of your way, man.
That's awesome. All right, on to our next story here, because that's a pretty feel-good story. We got another one here for you. This happened on January 27th. Headline reads, Man discovers $2 million lottery jackpot just hours after crashing car. So January 27th, a North Carolina man who started his day off with a car accident said his luck turned around when he won a $2 million lottery jackpot later in the same day. Anthony Dow of Leland told North Carolina education lottery officials he was driving to work the day after the Mega Millions drawing when something happened that made him decide to not go into work. I hit 2 deer with my brand new car.
Oh, man.
So he just got mad and went back home and got into bed and went to sleep. And when he woke up, he checked his tickets. He checked the 4th ticket. And he said, he checked each number. The ticket matched all 5 white balls in the drawing for the $1 million prize, and he selected the Mega Piler option when buying the ticket, which doubled his jackpot to $2 million.
Man, that's a good way to do it.
He says, it feels great. I'm just going to fix things on my mother's and father's house and get my car fixed and pay it off and pay my niece's car off.
Oh, there you go.
And what's really interesting about this is the other day, me and some friends at work were talking about this because we have the lottery here, and your highest chances of hitting something like that is after the Mega Millions, like a real big jackpot like we just had here, happens. Your highest, statistically speaking, odds are right after a huge jackpot because far less people are playing.
Oh, yeah, once they start to climb up.
Yeah.
Because I only play it when it gets up to like 350,
that's what I mean.
400
so
million,
if it's $1 million here, there's a good chance you're probably,
I don't know about a good chance.
There's a better chance.
Better chance, maybe, yeah.
You got to look at the odds, though.
Yeah.
They're a lot better.
I like to... and I think everybody does it when they buy a lottery ticket because I think was that last one was like 700, 800 million.
Stupid, yeah.
And when you buy it, you're kind of like, what would I do with all that
like you
money,
said, if you're going to win this, it's solely based on luck.
I mean, people pick their own numbers and all that. I just go in and get the
absolutely
luck of the draw, random quick pick or whatever it's called. Because like I said, if it's in the cards for me to win
it's just going to be luck.
It's just going to be dumb luck.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
But I always like to dream about like what
you would do. It's because who does it? Yeah.
It's like, man, what would I don't know if you
I
had
don't know,
$800
man.
million,
I really don't know.
It,
I mean, the thing is, you'd have to. Like you said, made sense the other day when we talked about this.
Get a hold of somebody that knows what they're doing.
I would get a hold of someone with some money that I know, that's actually a substantial amount, and be like, hey, man. What do I need to do?
Can you guide me in the right direction here? Yeah.
You mentioned some good people.
I would just be scared that everybody. I mean, even if you went to like a,
they might have other motives.
Well, you hear such horror stories about these people.
It happens.
But they're not all that way.
No, not at all.
People tend to talk about the ones that have failed.
Absolutely, because they're more interesting.
Because they had a TV show. Well, they had a TV show about lottery winners.
They followed like 10 bad ones.
It was kind of a series or whatever. I don't think it lasted very long. Mm-hmm. But they had one guy was a street sweeper operator for some city.
He kept doing it.
And him and a bunch of his coworkers all won.
But see, that's okay.
But he ended up with a few $1 million,
But see, that's cool. He
kept working and all that stuff. And
why not? In his position, he probably gets a pension and all that.
Yeah, that's what he said. He goes, I've got
why would I leave? Yeah,
5 more years and I
could be done. Yeah. Next story here. This comes from my hometown, Las Vegas, and this happened on January 26th. And the headline reads, Cat rescued after stranded for 3 days atop of a Nevada utility pole. So those wooden power poles that you see down the road?
Climbed up and couldn't get down.
On January 26, animal rescuers in Las Vegas said a cat was safely brought down and back to earth after being stranded for 3 days atop of a utility pole. The Las Vegas Valley Humane Society said a member of the public reported a cat atop of a utility pole, and it appeared to be unable to climb down and had been stuck in the same spot for at least 3 days. I'm not trying to laugh, but this is pretty funny.
You wonder why it couldn't get down.
It just probably, you ever see a cat get on something tall and they're like, oh, man.
Yeah, I think what happens in those kind of situations is they can climb real well.
They just can't get down
But when they get up there, they realize it's too far to jump.
Yeah.
I don't know how high
I'm going to hurt myself, yeah.
A telephone pole is pretty tall.
That's huge, yeah.
Yeah, so if it got all the way to the top.
Yeah.
I mean, how tall is a telephone pole? Probably, 70, 80 feet?
Yeah, 60,
and
70 especially,
feet.
You don't realize how big they are until you see one lying on the ground before they put it up or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And so, imagine if a cat probably got up there and said, I can't climb down.
Yeah, they got to the top.
Notice they climb going forward. They come down going forward.
Yeah. And the cat's not just going to jump off that high.
And I don't know if a cat could jump 50 feet.
Unless he's committing kitty suicide or something.
Maybe that's what he did. He changed it. Maybe he was just contemplating kitty suicide. I don't know.
Well, the group initially put out a call for help on social media, requesting anyone with the means to help the feline to get in touch with them via the hotline. Later, they said the cat had successfully been rescued. Thank you to individuals who reached out to help rescue the cat and to the community for their sincere concerns.
I wonder how they did it. I wonder if they used a bucket truck or
I
somebody
guarantee
climbed the pole.
maybe a lighting company or something was like, we got
it'd be easy
city
enough
worker or something.
You would think once you try to get near the cat would probably panic and jump or whatever. You know?
You would hope, it wouldn't.
And then again, you never know. Because sometimes cats get into those weird
Lock mode.
where they're just going to like,
just grab them.
yeah, you know. I don't know what I'm doing here.
All right, folks. We're going to take a short musical break, and we'll be right back with some more stuff for you. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around through that short musical break. And all right, so for today's episode, before we get into the topic and all that, we got a little bit of a Q&A here from some of the listeners. Some funny questions and stuff. Yeah, this happens from time to time. We get some questions sent in to us.
Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. You guys make any money? And. So
can you put my manifesto on your show?
Yeah, right. Oh God,
the blood will flow in the streets of the non-believers.
He always talked about killing buckwheat. Next, we'll get right into it here,
Karate
guys.
Man.
Yeah, the first one here. This is a pretty interesting one. It says, "Dear Andrew and Lee, what secret conspiracy would you like to start if you could? What secret conspiracy?
Secret conspiracy I would like to start, like of my
Anything?
own?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be tough.
Yeah, I'd do something crazy like, I don't know.
There's some of those
Rosie O'Donnell eats babies or something.
That's probably true.
It might be. Who knows? Yeah.
I think there is one out there already like that. I don't know. I get a kick out of conspiracy theories, man, because they're so interesting and what really blows me away
whether
about
they're
them,
real or not,
Well, what really blows
you'd like
me,
to believe some of them might be.
What
Who
really
knows?
blows me away about them is how passionate some people are about it.
Oh man,
the
dedication.
And like I've said this before, I said I like to watch documentaries. And if you get a good documentarian that writes
he's a good salesman.
Yeah, and if he's good and he does a good job at the flick, at the presentation of the show or whatever,
yeah,
they'll have people going, "Hey, this could be true." But if I was going to start one myself, I would probably do something like, "Hey, like what's that lizard effect or that lizard theory that
people or whatever.
that all the government leaders are." I'd probably do something like that, like all entertainers are like kind of in the Men in Black kind of theory where
they're all aliens.
Yeah, they're crustaceans or something. It's funny because they showed Sylvester Stallone's picture.
I think I would single it out some more so to somebody directly. Just
like a certain person, like
somebody I really
on them?
Well, like I said, Rosie O'Donnell, somebody I don't really like. Be like, Well,
there's so many out there that you could, that you look at and you go, "Geez, is this person from another planet?" Or?
These are pretty funny questions, man. Well, we'll move on to the next one here. This is pretty interesting, actually. It says, "Dear Andrew and Lee, in 40 years, what do you think people will be nostalgic for?" But I didn't see. Here's what I say in this.
Oh, that is a good question.
It could be, but it's kind of the same for the same things that people from your age group got nostalgic for. It would just be the same for us.
If the things in this, I'm not trying to be political here, but if things keep going the way they're going in this world in general and in our country in general, I think the thing that people are going to be most nostalgic about, the ones that remember, was freedom. Yeah. And I'm serious. I mean, and a more fit place to live. I mean,
yeah, but I mean,
so much division and divide and all that. I think that's what they'll miss.
Yeah, hey man, you guys want that stuff? Go over to Fox or something. Yeah. We don't do that. So, but I think as far as entertainment and stuff goes, it's going to be the same guidelines as it is now. Basically, the same preferences as it is now. Bands,
it makes you wonder.
Movies.
Like in 40 years, will Taylor Swift
be relevant?
Well, I'm sure she will.
Oh, I'm sure she will be, yeah.
Because you look back, 40 years.
Cardi B, not so much.
Well, that's what you wonder. If these people that they call the stars today.
She's going to be like Paula Abdul of today or whatever.
Well, but Paula Abdul is still relevant.
Not really.
Because she's still on that show. So, I mean, her name is still out there. Yes,
what show?
She's on The Masked Singer. Yes, she is. I just seen her.
I thought that was Jenny McCarthy on that show.
No, they can't confuse Jenny McCarthy with
She's on that show.
Okay, well, but like I said, anyways.
Yeah, it should.
If you think back in 40 years of who was popular then, I mean, some of them are still around. Some you wouldn't even, you go, oh, yeah, I forgot that existed. But that's what I think anyway, so.
Well, I think, like I said, I think it's on the same things as your generation would be doing. You know, everybody's on nostalgia at some point in their lives, especially as they get into about their 30s and 40s and stuff.
But you know what's weird though is I don't remember being a kid and like the old acts of the old days. Like, so if I say I was in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember.
She is on Masked Singer. I was wrong.
I saw a commercial.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love Paula Abdul.
You watch on TV. Yeah.
Well, I love Paula Abdul, so I follow her career. So. But, like, I don't remember being back in the 70s, people going, like, I'd really like to see these bands from the 30s and the 40s and stuff.
I don't know, though, dude, because check it out. When Elvis died, look at all the shit that happened. People were like, oh, my God.
That kind of kicked it off.
That kind of did, because for kids from the 50s and stuff and 60s,
really didn't
were like,
whoa.
Be
until, like, the 90s, I don't think, when people start saying, hey, I'd like to hear these, you know, like, when bands like...
it really became a thing.
When rock bands like Zeppelin and stuff became classic rock.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, like, even the bands from the 80s now are considered classic rock.
No, absolutely. You know? Bands from the 90s. Oldies. Like Red Hot Chili Peppers are technically played on classic rock stations now.
And they should be. They've been around a long time.
30 fucking years or whatever.
At least, yeah. So it's crazy, yeah.
All right, well, no, that's like I said, that's an interesting one to think of, because especially with technology, too. You know?
Yeah,
technology's going to be weird, too.
It's going to be, who knows where we're going to be in 40
years. What's
TV
going to look like in 40 years, you know?
It's hard to say.
Is it going to be fully immersive where you just put goggles on and sit there and gel out?
What I have noticed with the television and its technology in my lifetime, is I remember we had TV that that you turned on and you turned off, and you had a tube TV or whatever, and then we went to the projection TVs, and now we're at these LCD TVs and crystal light, and plasmas and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely, everything always.
But really, TV hasn't gotten. Other than the technology making a better picture and sound and stuff, it really hasn't changed a whole lot, man.
Not really.
I mean, it still does the basic thing.
They just the quality of it. They try to.
Yeah, the quality has come way up on it.
All right. Well, our next question here, sent in from another listener, and this is a pretty interesting one. Dear Andrew and Lee, what's the weirdest thing a guest has done at your house? Would be the weirdest thing a guest has done at your house?
Oh, I got one I could say, but it's not really it's kind of off color, so I'm not going to say that. So, you know what? If I had to say something that's kind of weird, like I've had people come to my house before that weren't like staying with me, and ask to shower.
Oh,
not with me. Yeah. Just like, hey man, can I use your shower? And it's just kind of like, all right.
Okay, that's kind of strange.
I guess that would be kind of,
Yeah, if they're not hanging out there, like staying with you or whatever. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of that too. Like, what's the weirdest thing?
What it is we've probably done weirder things
than
we've realized.
That's the problem. It's probably we're probably the weirdos. Yeah.
They say if you look around and you can't pick the weird guy, it's probably you.
Yeah, probably. So, all right. Moving on to the next one. What is the weirdest thing you've seen in someone's home? I got a really good one for this.
The weirdest thing I've ever seen, it's like an object in someone's home?
Anything, yeah. What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen in someone's home?
Oh, man, I didn't have anything prepared for this.
So I'll tell you one now.
Yeah, go ahead and I'll think about it here.
So back in the day when I was a young man, I used to do window cleaning, and we'd do casinos and homes and all that. So I did a lot of homes in Las Vegas. We go into like some of these rich people's homes. I went up into this neighborhood called Anthem out in Henderson, which is a really nice neighborhood, very high end. Yes, a lot of money there. I go into this house. This lady is, I did the outside windows and all that, and I go to do the inside windows. And you never know what you're really going to see. You kind of see some odd stuff because you're in people's homes. So
private lives. Man.
Yeah, you actually see what they do. I went up to the upstairs. And I was coming out of one of the bedrooms. It was the weirdest thing. And I'm pretty sure I know what it was for. But I'm going to see if the listeners, can guess where I'm going with this. So I look over, and in the corner, there's a big bird cage. Like, big.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, huge.
So this is one of these kinky sex things or something? Yeah,
I think they might be in a little BDSM or something weird like that. I don't know
what all that stuff is.
It's kind of crazy stuff. But it was like human size.
Bird cage,
like a human size
Maybe they had like a cockatoo that died.
I didn't see it.
A cockatoo?
Yeah, right.
Or 3, maybe.
Yeah, hey.
Oh!
So I thought that was pretty strange. I didn't really question them about it, obviously.
Looking back, that's crazy.
In fear they might put me in the cage.
Because I've never been anywhere where somebody had one of those sex swings or something hanging from their ceiling.
And why wouldn't you just have a thing over it, a veil over it?
Well, what you do in the privacy of your own room
that's
is
true.
your deal, And if you have to invite somebody in there to do some work, they can be like,
oops.
Yeah, this is what I'm into, dude. Sorry.
Right on.
I think the strangest thing I ever seen when I was a kid in a house is our neighbors built like a bar in their garage.
Okay.
And it was like a full-on
for the time, like what the fuck?
And, the tile floor, and the guy worked for Granny Goose Snacks.
Oh wow!
And so he had all these snacks that were in like you would see in displays in stores and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I always thought that was kind of neat.
He had his own little soda shop.
Yeah. It's so funny because they had a pool table in there, and I was a little kid when they did this, and for years I always thought, oh man, I'd like to play on that pool table. When I got to be about 15, 16 years old, I was over there hanging out with a guy that lived there. His name was John.
Yeah.
And I was playing pool, and the first shot I took on it, I ripped the felt on the table.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh yeah.
Was he mad?
He was a big goofy dopey dude, anyways, man. So
was he pissed off?
Yeah, they were mad. Yeah. Oh, God damn it, Lee. What was that, Lee? What was that?
Wow. All right, guys. Those were pretty funny questions, Andy. I like when they do that.
Send some more.
Yeah, absolutely. So
keep them clean.
Yeah, no, come on. All right, guys. You know what time it is. We always do just the facts. We have some facts for you, but today they are related to the topic that we're going to be talking about, and that topic is classic television.
Ooh.
So that's television from the 1950s all the way up through the 1990s. That's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, that's it. Can you imagine how many? If you could put a number on how many TV shows were released between 1950 and 2000.
Man. I'm sure somebody's got that number.
Oh, it's thousands of them.
Yeah,
there's TV shows that don't make it. There's some that
We're gonna get right into just the facts here.
Just the facts, man.
Yep, just the facts, like Dragnet.
They're pretty high.
First one here we have on the Andy Griffith Show.
Uh-oh.
Sheriff Andy has upside down maps of Idaho and Nevada behind his desk. And out of all the times I've watched that show, Andy and Mayberry, I've never noticed that.
No, why would you? Yeah.
That's how somebody figured it out.
People that do this kind of stuff just blow me away with the...
Well, it's just weird how they did it, too, in production. They were like... Because Mayberry's not a real place, They were just like, we got to make it look like it's a real place or whatever.
Mayberry I'm pretty County sure. Not a real place in North Carolina?
I don't know. Is it?
Well, they're in North Carolina.
Maybe. It might be. I could be wrong.
Mayberry RFD, which is rural for delivery or whatever.
I could be wrong. I don't think it is.
Check it out.
But, all right. So I thought that was a weird one.
We're all going to go to Mount Pilot.
And, and Andy Griffith's show, his name was Andrew Taylor.
I know
Andy
that.
Taylor.
I know. I learned that after I named you.
Yeah. So next fact here, the Brady Bunch back door, the sliding glass door, didn't actually have glass in it. And it was to keep the light from reflecting off the glass while shooting. So all those times Alice went up to the door and opened it to yell for the kids to come in was pointless.
That's so weird because it looked like it had glass in it.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. You couldn't even, nobody ever thought of it.
And I'm sure that was probably a set. Man,
but well, that's why they did it because all the lighting they had. It was
the light would because I've heard about like actors.
It'd be obvious
that wear glasses. They're not actually any glass in the lenses.
Yeah. So next one here. You watch Gilligan's Island, right?
Love Gilligan's Island. No, yeah. Bob Denver and
rest
I are
in peace,
friends.
Don Wells. Just.
There's one we just lost.
You guys used to see Gilligan at the store back in Vegas.
He used to live up off of Jones and Decatur. There, he used to live in that neighborhood behind the old Vons. There, his fan club.
You mean Jones and
Cheyenne?
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
Jones and Cheyenne. There was a Vons there, and the neighborhood behind that he actually lived.
Yeah, so. The flag in the opening credits of Gilligan's Island is at half-mast because of the Kennedy assassination. The pilot was filmed in November of '63. On the final day of production in Hawaii, the cast and crew had learned of the assassination of President Kennedy.
I never knew that.
So while they were filming that piece, they lowered the flag to half-mast for him.
That's weird because... I can't picture where the flag is in the.
It's in the beginning. Okay. Yeah. So it's in the beginning.
It's
of
an American flag.
Yeah, an American flag and some other flag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep an eye because the original.
It's at the dock. It's during a part when they're in the docks.
The original opening to Gilligan's Island when the show first started, the show was in black and white.
Yeah.
And they changed the theme song somewhere along the line because they had to add it was Gilligan. I read. that protested and said you need to add the rest of the cast members. If you listen to the three, it goes and the others too.
Yeah.
And then when they redid it, they said with Skipper and Marianne.
All of them, yeah.
I think Tina Louise is the only one that's left alive out of that crew.
Wow, that's crazy.
I think the rest of them are all gone.
So this next fact we have here, this is a show I used to watch all the time, actually, on Sci-Fi Saturdays on MeTV. The robot costume from Lost in Space weighed about 200 pounds and cost about $70,000. And then, in the 60s. That's around $500,000 in today's cash.
And they had to use it for every episode, huh? Mm-hmm. What was the robot's name in Lost in Space?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Can't either.
I used to watch that show all the time, too. Next one here, this is really interesting, too, because you used to watch Star Trek sometimes back in the day.
My father liked it.
Yeah. So
the original one.
Yeah, with William Shatner.
Yeah, and Leonard Nimoy and all those guys in it. The original,
George
it was
Takashi.
A good show. It was a good show.
The network wanted to ditch Spock from Star Trek because he looked satanic. His ears and his haircut and all that. They said he gave off this satanic.
He gave off this creepy devil vibe.
Yeah, and they were like,
the devil?
They were like, you know what? We don't want to portray that image.
He ended up being like one of the most popular characters on the show.
Oh yes, that shows what the studios know.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's a good thing they didn't. I mean, but what's weird is that they Spock kind of was didn't have emotions or anything like that because he was a Vulcan. He was out of his Vulcan mind, is what he was. Those old episodes, if you go back and watch them, they have a lot of kind of sexual innuendo in it stuff like that. Kirk was sleeping with just about anything.
Aliens and stuff.
He didn't even care. I mean, it was like
you gotta
weird.
Be careful, man. You could be peeing fire.
Who knows? Yeah. Green. She was green. She's got some disease.
Wasn't that show the first interracial kiss too on television?
I think it was.
Star Trek?
I believe it was.
Yeah, that's a big deal, man, for those times.
And I'll tell you, that some of those episodes, I can't remember what it's called, but they had one where they went back to the Earth in the 50s. It was a really good show.
I got to talk with William Shatner and George for a little while, and they were about a week apart from each other when we did. And we told
do they like each other?
They don't. Oh. We told them that we were going to be interviewing the other, and they left messages for each other. It was pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back in the terrestrial radio days, but it was pretty funny. George. I remember his specifically. We were like, "Hey, we're going to be talking to William next week or whatever." And you have anything you want to say to him? And we told him he had a new heavy metal record coming out. And George was just like, "Oh my," he normally does.
What do you say about that?
Yeah, and Will actually kind of got into it on the air about him, and he was like, that guy and I never got along. And so,
I always liked. It was pretty good. I always liked Scotty. He was my favorite character.
Will was a very nice man to talk to because when I I'd just sound check him through the phones and all that when he called into the station, and we recorded what we call a drop from him, and he says, hey, you're listening to BS in the Morning or whatever radio state, whatever the show name is. And when we told him the name, which was that, BS in the Morning, he was like, he started dying laughing on the phone like, oh, now you guys tell me. This is great.
Hey, when you have those celebrities that are on one show, like say they're coming in to be on your show, can the other stations that are in that building or whatever, can they
bounce around.
I mean, can they get drops and stuff like that?
Yeah, they bounce around.
They do that for them?
Yeah, usually. You just have to ask them. Usually everybody was cool about it,
Yeah, why wouldn't you be?
Rob Schneider did one, you couldn't do it.
They're usually pitching something.
Yeah, they're there for a show they're doing or whatever. Yeah, so, yeah, man, I mean, that happens all the time. All right, folks, we're going to take another short musical break here, and then we'll come back and get right into our topic of classic television shows. Stay tuned. We will be right back. Thanks for hanging in with us through the break, folk. We really appreciate it. All right, guys, let's get right into it. Classic television shows. Now, Lee, I'm going to start off with some I got listed over here, and, we'll just kind of get into it from there.
I didn't like it.
Number one, yeah, I object to this.
I object to this. Your Honor, I object.
So this show was a big show, and I know you were a huge fan of it as a little kid when it came out and all that, and and I eventually got into it, and I think this show really paved the way for a lot of law enforcement shows and stuff like that.
Oh, Dragnet?
Dragnet was the original one, and then Adam 12 and Emergency. Those three shows to me right there together, because they were all created within the same...
Well, they were all...
Jack Webb
and Ari Senator.
That's what I mean. So, and I think they kind of started that whole the law enforcement, television, where it followed the police officers and the AMTs and stuff.
I read one time on a story about Adam 12 when they were talking to Jack Webb in an interview with Jack Webb, and he said what he wanted to do with Adam 12 more than they had done with Dragnet. Because Dragnet was kind of about the crime and the suspect and the two police characters. With Adam 12, they wanted the car to be a bigger part.
It was going to revolve around the beat.
If you notice, a lot of Adam 12 is filmed in the car.
Yeah, they're out on the beat. And stuff.
So it focused on the two actors.
And those shows hit some pretty controversial stuff for the time.
They did,
absolutely.
For the time they were.
Adam 12, dude, they said the N-word almost, basically.
Yeah, they did. They did actually say
basically,
it. But you know what else I noticed about it? That I read somewhere that I never noticed before. That if you ever noticed on Adam 12, Dragnet, anything before. I think it was Emergency. Mm-hmm. There's if a guy gets shot or something, there's no blood.
Yeah, they didn't show that kind of stuff. Yeah, it wasn't allowed. Yeah. But those shows kind of laid the foundation for later shows like that to come out. I think especially.
They were trailblazers.
I think Jack Webb did very powerful, obviously, in the industry at the time.
He was at the time. Yeah, he was a very, very powerful guy.
I remember seeing
TV shows.
I remember seeing a picture of his home office, and he had about 6 televisions on the wall with all different time zone clocks and stuff.
Yeah,
and
he liked to watch his competitors.
Yeah, he'd like to watch everything that was on at the time of his shows, his programs.
No, he was a neat. I always had some admiration for him. He seemed like a really neat guy.
Yeah.
And then, so out of those 3 shows that they did, what one would you call your favorite?
Oh, Adam 12 by far. Emergency's a good. Would be my second. I like Emergency. I like Roy and Gage. They're good.
Yeah, it was Adam 12, as do all TV shows. Towards the I think we went 6 or 7 seasons.
It got weird.
In the 5th or 6th season, it really got kind of convoluted with these.
Reed was working undercover and stuff. Well, I think growing a beard.
I think they were both trying to just get out of the gig. They were like, hey, we've done this long enough. Yeah, And Emergency did kind of the same thing towards the end too. It was kind of. But I always liked Emergency because they always had a good story.
And Dragnet was on for so long. It started off in black and white.
Yeah, and I was watching an old episode the other night because they're on one of the servers right now.
Harry Morgan.
Harry Morgan's not on it.
Oh, before he was on it.
Harry Morgan,
wow. That show was on a long time.
Yeah, it was weird.
Another show I want to talk about that was a huge show that was on back in the day. A little bit later than Adam 12 and stuff like that, but definitely I know you remember this show very well, and I know it very well because it was on so often in the house when I was growing up. MASH.
Oh, jeez.
The 4077, yeah.
Yeah, that seemed like that show ran
just
forever.
Never ended, yeah.
It's never ended.
Yeah, and it still hasn't.
I wonder if they could reboot it.
You know what? It'd be interesting to see how they'd take it. Would it be in today's modern warfare, or would it be old?
You would have to do, if you did that. God, the world is such a different place anymore.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell. And the thing I like about MASH, to me, the best years of MASH are the first 3 seasons.
Oh, yeah, by far.
With Henry Blake and Trapper John and all that.
What did he go, 11 seasons?
They were still good later on and all that, but they got real political and serious. The last few
seasons of it got very political.
But it's okay. I think that's what they're,
Yeah. It was a comedy drama.
Exactly.
So they had the funny parts, but they also did... they were all talented enough to where they could pull off a real drama.
Exactly.
Because I remember watching the finale on when it ended,
which was probably one of the most tuned in television.
It still is.
Everybody was watching that.
But I remember seeing it. It's like, man, that was I thought to myself, it was a crummy way to end the show.
To close out. Yeah.
It was. If I remember, and it's been a long time. I think it was a 2-parter, and what's Alan Alda's character was Hawkeye.
Yeah,
he had a mental breakdown and
went gaga.
Yeah, it was just it was kind of like, man, that sucks. And all the good. You're right about the first few seasons because
those are the best characters.
Wayne Rogers, rest in peace.
Trapper John.
He was very good, and he left because he wasn't getting a big enough part of the show.
Yeah,
and then you had the guy I always call you, Larry Linville, Frank Burns.
Oh, Frank Burns is great.
Which to me was the greatest character that was ever
Frank
on the show.
And Frank stayed on for a little while after that.
A season or two, maybe. And then he went, and then they got David Ogden Stiers, rest in peace.
He was great too, though. Winchester was funny, but he was different. Yeah.
At first, and then towards the end of the run there, he was no longer the butt of their jokes or anything. He was more of a colleague, which Frank Burns was never a colleague.
No, never
he was
a friend.
Always, In fact, that's one of my favorite episodes on that show is when we could do a whole episode on MASH.
Oh yeah, man. Absolutely. But, who's your favorite character?
Oh, by far, Frank Burns.
Frank Burns.
Oh, yeah. I know you're going to say I'm Klinger, but
well, you look a lot like him.
Yeah, me and Max Klinger. What's his real name?
From Ohio.
You know what's funny is I was in a bar in Toledo.
Yeah.
And they had a picture of him up there.
That's great.
Jamie Farr.
Yeah.
Because he did other stuff too. Jamie Farr had other work. I would name something.
Really?
Which I'm going to talk about that on my list too.
Okay.
But, not Jamie Farr, but people like Jamie Farr. They had a picture of Jamie Farr in the sports bar, and I was at a training school for a week there.
Yeah.
And I would go there every night after the school because it was in the parking lot of the hotel I was staying at.
Convenient.
And the guys, and I was talking to these people, and they were all like, "Oh yeah, he comes in it because he was actually."
That's awesome.
Jamie Farr was actually from Toledo. They used that.
They're proud of it. Yeah.
Oh, they were very proud of it.
That's cool, man. Well, moving on from MASH here, because we have a lot of ground to cover here. I have quite the list. So, one of my favorite 70s television shows, and I think this and actor in general. James Garner as Jim Rockford in The Rockford Files. The Rockford Files, to me, was like the quintessential PI show.
Yeah, he kind of set the way for a lot of that. I mean, there had been stuff
before him, obviously, Mannix and stuff like that.
He did a good job. You had Mannix, and then you had like Mission Impossible, the spy show.
Exactly. But the same kind of thing, yeah.
But yeah, The Saint, which he was kind of,
I think James,
great actor.
Yeah. And
what a versatile actor.
I don't think you could have anybody else play that character like he did, you know?
You know what?
James had a happy-go-lucky kind of
I'm not big on the reboot stuff.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, if I was going to pick a show to reboot.
I'd like to see it, yeah.
Which they tried it.
Yeah. It never made it out of the production.
Did it never make it out of the can? Okay, because I know they had tried it.
The studio heads at NBC had seen it and said, no, we're not going to do this.
I mean, I don't even know who you would take and get, You could get
who I thought would be great?
Dax Shepard.
No, maybe, but you know who I also thought would be great?
Ashton Kutcher?
No, remember the guy that played Kelso's brother on that 70s show?
Kelso's brother?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember. Vague. I keep thinking
Casey
of the blonde-haired
Kelso?
guy that replaced Eric. No, I can't think of the...
Casey Kelso.
Okay, yeah.
He's what's his name's brother, dude? Owen Wilson's brother.
Oh, yeah.
That guy could play Jim Rockford. Dude.
Yeah. That guy's pretty good, man.
I gotta look his name up.
Yeah, it's something. I know he was in. You're my boy, Blue.
Luke Wilson.
Yeah. He's also on a bunch of those drunk histories.
Yeah. See, this guy could pull off a Jamie Rockford.
Maybe. He might be able to do that.
And then you could get somebody to play Angel because he was one of the best characters on the show.
You know who would do a good job as Angel?
Who?
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, he could play that character really well.
Or Chris Tucker.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to go that way with it.
Yeah. Well, because they were convicts. They were old. They were, Jim was pardoned, but they were still, he still kept the connects.
Play Rocky?
That's the thing, man. Kurt Russell.
No way.
That'd be awesome.
He's not goofy enough.
No, he could.
Kurt Russell is a badass.
He could do it though. He could play that role.
Man,
yeah,
that would be terrible.
No, dude, totally. Or you'd have to be somebody like that.
Yeah, but you need to get a goofy old guy like.
I don't know, man.
I can't think of any that are still alive.
Tim Allen, he's old.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Yeah, you know what? That might work. You might be able to pull.
He's kind of a smart ass.
He's going to need a job here pretty soon.
Yeah,
he's not that old though, man.
He's old, dude. I mean, I don't know who else. It
depends on how old you're going to make Jim Rockford. Because
Jim was in his 40s.
Yeah, so Rocky would have to be in his late 60s.
Yeah.
So is Tim Allen that old?
Yeah, probably. He's got to be in his 60s.
You know who would do a good job? Now that you mentioned Tim Allen. I know you don't like Last Man Standing as much as you like the Tool Time.
Oh, you mean...
but you know who would do a good job as the dad on rebooted Rockford Files? Is the guy that played the dad on Last Man Standing.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
He's in Jackie Brown. That guy would probably be pretty good, man.
Yep. Yeah, so that Rockford
Files,
that show had so many, the coolest part of the show to me was the car chases and stuff like that. And he was always getting into fights and shit, His day never went without a car chase or getting punched. Yeah,
he was always constantly, And he was always, what else was always prevalent about Jim Garner?
Yeah.
The PI?
Yeah.
That's who we're talking about, right?
Yeah, Rockford. Rockfish.
He was always getting burned.
Yes.
Yeah, like he would say it's $200 a day plus expenses, and he rarely ever got paid.
That's true.
Everyone was like, I gave him a bad check or whatever.
That's true. Yeah. Well, moving right along here,
another one you could do a whole episode on.
See, this is the thing. I'm going to say all these shows. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Another one of my favorites,
Well, yeah, because I love put a show you don't like on
there.
Well,
and I love old television. I really do. I love old TV series. I think the acting was a lot different back then than it is nowadays, It really was, I mean, I'm not saying it was better or anything. It was just different.
Some performers of yesteryear were probably more talented.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not saying that the stars don't have any talent.
No, because there's
some great ones out there. Yeah, but if you looked at like a guy, I'm not so much James Garner, but look at Jerry Orbach.
Yeah,
who was a great actor.
He was a crooner and all that.
And most of those guys were like that. They were singers, they were dancers, they were actors.
Yeah,
nowadays
they had to do everything.
I've never seen Leo do a song and dance. I'm not saying
maybe he has. I don't know.
Maybe he has. I just haven't seen it.
But moving right along, what I was going to just segue into is another one of my favorite shows, and this show kind of was definitely original idea at the time. Taxi.
Great show.
Awesome. Had a ton of great people on it.
Which is the writer from Taxi that was from The Simpsons?
I can't remember.
It wasn't Sam Simon, was it?
No, it's...
What's the other guy? Yeah.
I don't know. Look it up. You have a phone.
That was... You catch a little bit of Taxi in some of the early episodes.
Yeah, some of it, yeah. But, my favorite character by far on Taxi was Jim Ignatowski.
See, I wouldn't think that would be your favorite character.
Him and Louis was hilarious.
Rieger would be your favorite character.
Nah, Alex has good scenes and stuff.
It was a great show. It was a great ensemble cast.
Exactly. Everyone was so different from each other.
And that show was, what?
I love Louis, though. Louis was hilarious,
probably Danny DeVito's best work ever.
Yeah.
I honestly... I like Danny DeVito.
He was genuinely funny in that show.
He was mean.
And people say he's about the same in that Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
See, I've never watched it, so maybe we ought to give it a chance.
Show is great. Yeah.
He's done some great, I've told you this before. Mm-hmm. Back in the 90s.
Oh, you could do no wrong.
Well, back in the 90s.
Schwarzenegger and DeVito.
Well, there was a handful of actors that you couldn't go see a movie without one of them
Steven
being
Seagal.
in it. Wow, that was an actor. I would love Steven Seagal, man.
But those guys were all around in the same thing.
In the movies, you had Michael Keaton was in everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
Danny DeVito was in everything.
Arnold.
Christopher Lloyd was in everything.
Yeah.
There was just a handful of these guys that was just like
they worked.
They were just they were in all the movies. But if you want to see an early version of all those cats, check out One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because
that's true.
Danny DeVito, Christopher Lloyd are all in that movie. That's probably some of Jack Nicholson's best work.
Moving right along to classic.
Taxi was a great movie.
More classic show. Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the next show. I'm getting stumbled up here. Twilight Zone, Rod Serling, probably one of the most quintessential TV show hosts ever, and his ideas alone on the stuff he talked about in those scripts, introducing episodes. He was ahead of his time. He saw stuff into the future, and I'm not saying he was a clairvoyant or anything. I'm just saying.
And you know what though? Even him being, if you want to say he was ahead of his time,
he had
would be kind of a true statement. Yeah. But he was dead on his stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a science fiction show, to this day, I can't think of anything that's ever came. And I'm a huge X-Files fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I even like the show that I'm watching now with Gillian Anderson in it, The Fall.
Fringe, cool show.
Yeah, there's been a lot of this science fiction stuff that has come out, but I think what I liked about Twilight Zone it wasn't always about outer space or anything like that.
It could be normal stuff.
Just weird stuff that happened. This is some great episodes. I remember watching that show with my aunt when I was a little kid, and
it had so many people on it too. Oh yeah, it had so many people on it too. It'll still scare you to this day if you watch it. Late at night with the lights off and stuff.
Yeah,
and all that.
It's a great. And you know what? They've rebooted it so many times.
It's another.
And it's just never caught on.
It's another great thing. The movie was great too. I liked the movie.
Yeah, it was campy, but it was okay. Yeah. Did you ever see the other show that Rod Serling did? I think it's on one of our servers.
Night Gallery.
It's called that show
was scary too.
Scary.
Yeah.
It was scarier than the Twilight Zone. I remember being a little kid seeing that shit come on.
You're like, oh fuck,
and I'd be like, I don't want to see.
I don't want no part of this.
I want nothing to do with this, man.
Next show, and this is an animated show, and it's been on the longest running animated show.
Greatest animated show probably ever written.
Ever, yeah. And especially the first 10, 11 years of it were just
Amazing.
You talk about the golden age of television.
Amazing. Yeah.
The Simpsons.
The land of Springfield.
Yeah, the hundreds and hundreds of characters and just
and what's so neat.
What a legacy.
Oh yeah. And I think it's been done a disservice by keeping it going this long.
Honestly, some people will disagree, but it's also but they have their fans still. In my opinion, I agree.
The show is, I think, like you said, I think after 10, 12 seasons, you should have shut that down. But they're on 30 now.
Well, there's some too here in the later ones, like after maybe up to the 20th season that had some sporadic good episodes. But
that's sad when it comes out. That's like an old aging band keep putting out records, and you get
they just don't
maybe
make
one
any
every
sense.
3 or 4 albums. They get a song that's decent. But anyways, not to harp.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a favorite character from Springfield, from the Simpsons world,
I got 2 of them.
Okay.
For you. Any of them, right?
You can have any. Santa's Little Helper.
My 2 that I personally like the best are Krusty the Clown and Mr. Burns.
Yeah, those are 2 good ones. Mine would probably be Groundskeeper Willie.
Yeah, he's great.
And Krusty. Or you know who else I like too? Is Lionel Hutz.
He is pretty good.
Yeah,
would you like to join me for a belt of scotch? Yeah. It's 9 a.m. Yeah, but I haven't slept in days.
I like when he's all free consultation.
Yeah, they got these all messed up.
And I like when they're in court one time and
That's my attorney.
And Marge goes, "Why do we keep hiring him?"
The briefcase is full of shredded newspaper.
And he runs out. It's like, dude. But there's
he was great. God bless Phil Hartman.
Oh yeah,
rest in
what
peace.
A character,
yeah,
man.
What a talent.
And God bless Sam Simon.
Yeah,
Sam Simon.
all of them. Yeah, dude. Conan was a writer on that show for a few years.
Yeah. They had some writers that look at some of the guests they've had. Johnny Carson on it.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Absolutely.
They've had all kinds of crazy casts. What do you think of? Because there's never been really a spinoff of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they'll ever do something like that.
Moving into another show here. This is going back to the '60s. We just touched on this a little bit ago in the Just the Facts segment. Star Trek. There's been so many variations of it too and stuff. That it's hard to keep track. Me either. But people say how great they are and blah. But the original series to me is the cool one. That's the one I used to watch on Sci-Fi Saturdays on MeTV.
My dad, it was one of my dad's favorite shows, so he watched it. My dad had kind of an odd taste for different things on television, but he liked Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I used to, it was on, and I used to watch it when I was a teenager. Not diligently. I was what you call a casual
here and there.
fan.
Yeah.
And then I saw the first couple movies because the first couple movies are the crew. It's a cast from the TV show.
Yeah.
And then when it started getting more
crazy
into a perfect example, who played the Klingon leader in the Star Trek in the '90s, right? It's Christopher Lloyd.
Oh wow, that's crazy! Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was
I've never seen him. So
yeah.
Another show.
Right. He played Khan.
A lot of these shows that are coming up here took place during Sci-Fi Saturdays and stuff. That's how I seen these, on that channel MeTV. I didn't have cable and stuff, man. I was poor. Got to watch them,
Yeah, I hear you.
Cheap.
And sometimes that TV stuff is better.
I like it,
Cable
No, it was
a lot
awesome.
Of channels are garbage.
Sci-Fi Saturday started off with Three Stooges shorts, and then it went into...
The old Three Stooges?
Yeah. Then it went into Wonder Woman. And then it went into, which was cool with,
She was hot, man.
Yeah, exactly,
Linda Carter,
yeah. And then it went into, which that show it was hokey, but it was cool. And then it went into Charlie's Angels for like an episode, which was, yeah.
You know what? I watched it when I was a kid.
And then it went into into the Incredible Hulk, and then it's like it would play like an old movie like Frankenstein or something, and then it would go into Star Trek, Buck Rogers in Outer Space, and Lost in Space. So you'd be up till like 2 a.m.
watching this crap TV.
Yeah. So Lost in Space is another one of those shows that was really cool. I thought the whole idea, and they've remade it, and it looks awesome. The new series looks pretty badass. So.
Are they going to? Oh, they're remaking it.
They've already remade. They've already done it. Yeah.
Good.
Buck Rogers in Outer Space was cool.
I vaguely remember that show. I remember the movie.
He had that little robot sidekick, and then they always had some hot chick on the show.
Oh yeah, that was what's his name from Ted, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's
Buck Rogers. Right?
No, not at all. That's Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so stupid on this stuff. I'm so sorry.
The next show I know you'll know some stuff on. Happy Days.
Oh yeah, what a great show. That was about the Oriental family that moved from Taiwan to
no Happy Days.
No, I'm just kidding. Was a spinoff of the movie American Graffiti.
Technically,
yeah, that's where they got the inspiration
the idea
for
from it. Yeah, and Ron Howard.
Talk about a show, and I'll tell you this right now. Talk about Happy Days here. When we were kids, I think it was on Friday or Saturday. It was on a weekend night. And that show was on around 8 o'clock at night, which they call prime time. Mm-hmm. And I remember everybody in my family that was home
would gather. Was
living at home. Yeah. We'd all sit in the front room and watch Happy Days, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of draw. People don't do that anymore.
That's like 7 people in the living room.
But people don't do that anymore.
No, I know. Yeah,
that episode they did on the South Park about the loss of the living room.
That's true. Yeah,
it's true.
No, absolutely. And the dinner table and all that.
Well, that's a whole other thing. But
people used to sit down and eat dinner.
But nowadays,
it was like a rule: be home for dinner.
But nowadays, and it has been this way for a long time, is you can TiVo or VCR, back in the day, record a show and watch it at your own leisure. As to where back then, this show comes on 8 o'clock. If you're not here, you ain't seeing it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
And good luck on catching it on a rerun. You have to go through the TV guide.
If that, yeah. If even back in the day, they didn't really.
But the nice part about those series is that I liked is if you missed one, you weren't lost in the story. Yeah, it wasn't like they had a. It was a continuation.
Theme, Mork and Mindy was spun off of that show.
Awesome show.
So, another show
that was really terrible at the very end.
Oh yeah, most of them got that.
Yeah,
way.
It's sad.
Another one that we had here, Police Squad, Leslie Nielsen. That spawned all the Naked Gun stuff. Yeah, and it didn't last long enough.
When that show first came out, I fell in love with it, and I don't think it lasted more than a season or two.
Yeah, and I think there's 8 episodes or something.
Is that all there is?
10 episodes.
Then they made the movies, and they were huge.
Yeah, exactly.
And I never understood why they didn't bring the TV show back.
To capitalize on it. He was great, dude. He could do anything, serious or funny.
Yeah, but you know what? The last 25 years, ever since the movie Airplane.
National Lampoons and all that.
Yeah, I mean, Leslie Nielsen was hilarious.
Oh, absolutely, great, And like I said, he could do serious stuff, too. He was a real actor.
He was a real actor. You've seen the movie Creepshow?
Yeah. He's the bad guy.
He's in Reluctant Astronaut. He plays the smart astronaut.
Yeah, here's another show I wanted to touch on, and this kind of was the genesis of Law and Order in a way back in the day, black and white television. Perry Mason, great show. Perry Mason,
Raymond Burr.
Perry Mason was a great show.
See, that was before my time, and I've seen a few episodes of it since then.
Oh, I used to watch it all the time.
Raymond Burr's next show, and I remember it being real scary when I'd watch it. It was a show called Ironside.
Oh, in the wheelchair, right?
Yeah, he got shot.
Yeah.
He was.
I remember that show.
Yeah, he was an attorney on Ironside too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
No, Perry Mason was a good show because, like I said, it showed the crime scene and the incident and all that, and then they followed the case.
They've redone that show now, haven't they?
Yes, they have. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but it looks good, and it takes place in that time period.
Oh, so it doesn't take place now?
As far as I know, it looks like it from the commercials and stuff I've seen. But what I wanted to bring up Perry Mason is, like I said, it was kind of the genesis for Law and Order, the original series, in a way. They kind of did the same form. They but they showed the crime as well, just like that Perry Mason did too.
Yeah. I guess you could say that because I'm sure I got to think. When was Perry Mason? Probably in the 60s.
Yeah,
50s, 60s?
Late 50s, early 60s.
So there was probably not much before that. Yeah. I'm sure there was detective shows because I think this is the dawn of television program.
And radio programs. There was The Shadow and stuff like that.
There was all kinds of stuff like that.
Dick Tracy and stuff.
That's what we should start listening to, some more radio.
They have them on YouTube. It's pretty cool. And I was going to mention that about the Twilight Zone. If anyone's a Twilight Zone fan, that we were just talking about that show, if you get on YouTube, they have audiobooks of all the old episodes. They're great, and they're actually redone with known people in them and stuff. I think Stacy Keach does Rod Serling's parts. He's done he's Officer Stadenko and Cheech and Chong, and he does American Greed.
I was gonna say Stacy Keach has done a ton of stuff. Yeah,
he's a great. He narrates stuff really well. But Law and Order, that show was a classic, the original series.
Yeah, and what was nice about Law and Order is, as opposed to Criminal Intent and Special Victims.
Yeah.
And, they had Law and Order Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And then they had Law and Order UK. Remember I was showing you the one on TV the other day that was from England.
Yeah, which is really weird.
The base show, the core show, Law and Order, the original show, is probably the greatest television show ever made.
One of them for easily, sure. And that was another show that was in like MASH's respect to me, where it was always on reruns, and it was always and they were new. They were new episodes when I was a kid too, but it was always on some channel somewhere, TNT and all that. And
on Peacock, I think is what we have it on now.
Yep.
And I loved the first few seasons when Michael Minority on it.
Before Sam Watterson.
But when Sam Watterson came on,
the show went to next level.
And it was just unbelievable.
Absolutely, he's a great actor. A ton of great talent on that show.
Oh yeah,
especially Jerry Orbach. Like that comedian said, I miss Jerry Orbach and some relatives more than
some dead relatives. Yeah.
But next show I wanted to get into here, and this is going to be This show was on in Comedy Central when it got big. And it was on later at night, I remember, because I remember the robots scaring the shit out of me as a little kid. Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, that had to have been in the 90s
somewhere. Late 90s. It started in the early 90s, but when I remember seeing it was in the late 90s, around the time when South Park was first starting and all that. I remember seeing
Mystery Science Theater 3000. It was an afternoon show on the weekends, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, for the first time.
Originally, yeah. And it was always kind of a neat... they have that, riff tracks, stuff like that.
The Mystery Science Theater, was obviously the originator of all that.
Who's your favorite host on Mystery Science Theater?
Oh, Mike.
Yeah, I like Mike.
I like Joel too, but
I like Mike
my favorite robot is Crow. Crow's the funniest one, I think.
Yeah, I like Crow.
You know? Where he's like, I want to decide who lives and dies and stuff like that.
Here's what to do not on a date.
They just did a ton of great stuff, and there were some movies that were really cool.
You know what?
In there.
That was always kind of a thing. Is when you start watching it, you start becoming invested in the movie.
You're like, I want to see what's going on.
And you're like, I wish these robots would shut up. I want, but they say some stuff that's just outlandishly funny.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. South Park's another show I wanted to mention. Obviously, we could talk about them all day, but
just in modern culture relevancy, they changed everything.
Yeah.
And to me,
they're the most hated but most loved.
It's just they're
I love them.
They're a lot of their episodes, a lot of their storylines has such a great relevance to social justice.
And the way they do it and stuff, and the production and all that.
And they take no prisoners, man.
Oh yeah, they don't care. Yeah, and that's I love it. It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's even today, it's still entertaining.
You know what's great too is these guys that I'm going to mention here next kind of paved the way for that too in a way, because they were really hated when they first started. Beavis and Butthead were very much not liked.
They were hated by the
parents and stuff,
the establishment.
Like but metal bands and rappers and stuff are like, this is great. They're putting our music out there.
Were hilarious. They were hilarious.
But for bands, that was a great thing. I'm on Beavis and Butthead. That's a great thing.
Beavis and Butthead, they for what it was worth, the music videos are what made them funny. When they would rip on the music, and then their show got more into doing a premise of the show, which was good too.
Yeah, there was funny episodes. Was awesome. Yeah, that was great. I remember seeing that in theaters.
Yeah,
Beavis is all giant, breathing fire and stuff.
And you know what? Beavis and Butthead never really got super dirty or anything like that.
Not too bad,
There's not a lot of profanity in
Another show I wanted to mention, these last couple ones are going to be animated ones. Looney Tunes, the golden age of cartoons, obviously. They paved the way. They paved the way, yeah. There's so many classics. Dude.
I think if you took between 1940 and 1950, the Merry Melodies and
the Golden Age,
Warner Brothers and the Hanna-Barbera.
All the way through the 60s, yeah. 70s, mid-70s.
You can't think of the more beloved. Those characters are so great that they're almost lifelike.
Yeah,
and when you think of Bugs Bunny, you've taken on a life of its own, man. Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Foghorn Leghorn,
Everybody grew up.
Tweety Bird.
Everybody grew up watching those, basically.
It seems like a whole lot of generations did.
It's like Disney, basically.
What about did you like the Warner Brothers cartoons better or the Hanna-Barbera?
I like them both, but if I had to choose for eras, the oldest stuff is obviously Looney Tunes, but the 60s and 70s would be Hanna-Barbera.
So, you're talking like Scooby-Doo or...
Yeah, and, Wacky Racers and stuff like that, yeah. My favorite ones, though, but my favorite cartoon... Two of my favorite cartoons would be Scooby-Doo and Speed Racer.
I like the old original Scooby-Doo. I think it was, that was a good...
the first two seasons,
as they got with the little dog and all that, I lost interest in it. But,
Speed Racer was another one that was...
Awesome show.
And then it kind of brought the Japanese animation and stuff to the forefront.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In America, for sure.
When I was a kid, it was Speed Racer and Kimba the White Lion.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people say that Disney ripped off.
They might have.
Lion King from Kimba.
Another show from that time period, too, that was claymation that was great, and it had a great story, Gumby.
I thought you were going to say Mr. Bill.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was later on, but Gumby was another show. The whole idea of it, you can go inside of books and all that, especially for little kids. That's what I grew up watching.
Some of my earliest memories of watching television as a child.
Is Gumby.
Yeah, because it would come on, and I don't remember the. I was going to talk about it on my list here. Watching the shows I watched when I was a little kid, a very small child. I remember watching Romper Room.
Oh yeah,
and then
you remember Captain Kangaroo when you were a kid?
I didn't watch it,
but he was on, right? He was on. Mr. Green Jeans and shit.
Yeah, I never liked it. I never liked Mr. Rogers.
I don't remember watching those shows. I remember watching Mr. Rogers vaguely
as a little kid. I remember just not. I remember it vague. Being 5-6 years old.
Kind of weird.
And that show coming on, and I would turn it off. I just never cared
I would watch
for it.
more like Gumby and Speed Racer and stuff.
I was going to say,
man.
on the weekends that I'd watch cartoons, the Saturday cartoons or whatever.
Yeah, Saturday mornings.
Or maybe it was during the week. It was during the week before I was in school.
Get up early and...
Well,
yeah.
no, because I was not old enough to go to school.
Oh, you mean, age-wise.
So, yeah,
gotcha.
and so... I remember watching Romper Room, and then Gumby would come on.
Yeah.
And Gumby was awesome because Gumby would slide himself into a book or something.
That was the story.
And that was the story, yeah. And it was all toys.
They were doing some acid making that show, for sure. HR Puff and stuff and stuff.
What another great show.
One last show on my list before we get to yours, and it's a talk show, and it's a huge influence on me, and you too as well. I mean, we watch these guys all the time. And
The Joan Rivers Show?
No, close, but no cigar. The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. The only Tonight Show, in my opinion.
Yeah, they should have changed it when he left, man.
Well, Johnny and Ed wore that show, and people don't realize this. They worked together on a show before this, too. But I think the Tonight Show and the guest and just the whole time period of that 30 years were perfect.
You know what? I love the Tonight Show, and with Johnny on it, I mean, it never really had to jump the shark.
No, he was the best, man.
Now, what's come after Johnny and his competitors and stuff like that, that's a lot to say, who knows.
You can have everybody's
but
got,
I like that show that we watched a while back where the one where the kid worked at the Tonight Show.
Oh, that was a great show.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called now.
Yeah.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah.
Or there's Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and which if you get a chance, watch
Check it out,
it's good.
man. It's pretty good.
I
wish it would have stuck
Peacock,
around for another season.
But I don't think in today's world, because we have it.
No, I get it, but
yeah, because Johnny didn't have a lot of competition, man.
Yeah, but also I think in today's world, Johnny didn't do anything to alienate anybody. Even when he had political guests on Reagan and stuff like that, he didn't do anything to. He never actually came out and said, "I'm a Democrat" or "I'm a," And that's important, I think, in those shows is when everything's so politically charged and polarized, that's ruins entertainment.
Well, that's the thing
in general, and I don't care which side you side with, it ruins entertainment in general.
When you have an entertainer come out and start talking their politics,
just anything like that.
Yeah, or whatever, any social
agenda,
issues, that has an agenda other than entertaining us.
Yeah, and that's what we're there to do.
You shut off half your people. So even if I agree with you,
I
feel bad for the people that don't agree with you.
Exactly.
And why would you do that?
Why do you want to shame?
You're
going to shame somebody into what they believe.
Shame somebody for what they believe in.
No thanks.
Yeah. So I don't get it. But
that's what I loved about the Tonight Show is pure entertainment. Let's get into your list.
Well, I wanted to talk about we had talked about earlier.
Yeah.
How some of these actors had more veracity, they had more. They had.
I don't want to say talent, but
more talent,
they had to do more stuff. They had to.
It brings it back to where you don't see it as often. Like say in the show The Brady Bunch, every now and then they'd bust out in song.
Oh yeah.
They'd say, "Hey, we're going to the mall today."
Do you think it was really them singing though?
Yeah,
all of them.
I guarantee it because they recorded records.
Yeah, but you think it was actually them singing that?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
I mean, the stuff didn't sound that great. It's not like
I know. Yeah.
But then you had other TV shows like The Partridge Family, which in my opinion is a superior show.
A lot of those shows had a lot of singing and dancing and shit.
Well, The Partridge Family, they were a musician.
Well, they were a band, yeah.
But then you also had the show like The Monkees.
Yeah.
The Monkees weren't real musicians.
Well, they had to learn on the fly.
They put them all together
basically,
and they became musicians.
Yeah, they had to learn, yeah.
Charles Manson interviewed for The Monkees too. And
That's crazy.
Yeah. I always wonder about
that goddamn White Album.
If he'd gotten that job, would things gone different? Obviously, they would have.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
But like I said, it's one of those things. I love the old time, and I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know of anything now. Well, I guess you get like Glee.
There's High School Musical shit like that was out there, but I mean it's
and The Masked Singer. But I guess those kind of shows I don't really get into those, so I don't know much about them.
Exactly, yeah.
But like I said, and then another thing I was thinking about here is I was trying to remember back to when I was a child, and growing up or a young person. And like I said, I mentioned I watched the Romper Room, which I used to love that show,
Yeah.
And then in California, anybody from Los Angeles may remember, we used to have a show out there. It was called Hobo Kelly.
Okay.
And she was like this cheaply made up looking. It was off of like KTLA.
It was a local broadcast, public broadcast. Yeah.
The city of Los Angeles was so big that it had its own TV shows.
Yeah.
You might not be able to see them in Seattle or whatever, but they were a local celebrity there. But that was always cool because she took this big bucket of trash, like nuts and bolts and stuff, and she put it in this machine.
Build something.
And it would come out toys and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. And then, of course, Sesame Street, which I was never a big fan of.
I remember watching a a lot of it.
I didn't like Sesame Street because I knew what Sesame Street's agenda was when I was a kid.
What?
They were trying to teach you something, man.
Like they got to learn stuff. Yeah.
One number, two number.
Yeah.
It was not for me. And then growing up as I got a little older and you guys were young, you really liked watching with you guys was the old Pee-wee Herman's Playhouse.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And that would drive on Mom. Saturday mornings, that show was hilarious.
That would drive Mom nuts.
I remember we used to all scream and yell when they would say the magic word.
Word of the day. You know,
and
it'd be like Cher, and he's like, ah!
Yeah, it's like, so good. And that show was so good. I mean, it just was one of those. And if you like to get a little medicated and watch it, oh my god, good night.
Smoke a doobie.
Yeah, good night on that, man. You're going to be in La La Land for quite a bit there, man. But then I also wanted to like say, you know, when a lot of those shows you had talked about ran their course and they were gone. Some of the actors went on to do big things.
Other stuff, yeah.
Ron Howard, you know, big star.
Director.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
huge.
a lot of these guys got their start on these sitcom shows. Went off,
Panned out to do big
Christopher
things.
Lloyd from Taxi went off to make big movies.
Man.
You know, a lot of them did. You know,
huge.
Big leads. But then they also had actors that
didn't do so much.
Didn't do so much afterwards, you know? And
unfortunately.
So Aaron Spelling came up with these shows where they would, you know, like cast these older, I don't want to call them B-list actors, but they weren't superstars.
Were studio actors, you know.
Well, they had success. Like Jamie Farr had success in MASH. When MASH was over, I think he may have did after MASH. There was some spinoffs of that show.
Yeah, didn't Klinger have a spinoff?
I don't think he had his own. But you had Aaron Spelling come out and do shows like Fantasy Island and The Love Boat. And
these guys would all do guest appearances,
and all their
man.
Cast
yeah.
was these older, you know, not as popular anymore actors.
They work cheap.
Well, yeah, they probably had to work for scale or whatever, man.
Oh, yeah, but that's cheaper than, you know.
One of our servers right
Tom
now.
Selleck, fucking James Garner or whatever. It's way cheaper.
Catch him on there,
That's way cheaper,
and you know what? We have Fantasy Island, the original.
Yeah.
On, you know, back when Hervé Villechaize went. That's another show that got weird when he left. You know, Hervé Villechaize left Fantasy Island. The little dude from James Bond.
Tattoo?
Yeah, he left.
He got mad?
He got mad and quit.
Tattoo
and
real mad.
And he ended up with this big, goofy sidekick. Like,
that's
Ricardo
weird.
Montalban was a pristine
actor,
well-trained,
has his own theater. I've been there.
I mean, he's
in Hollywood.
When you think of actor, you think of Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
That is a thespian.
He's legend.
You.
Yeah,
and they put him alongside this goofy side. There's the last couple seasons of but like I said,
he needed a paycheck.
There are episodes of Fantasy Island that are pure gold, man. It's the same with, and the Love Boat was a different story. They had Isaac the bartender, man. It was you know, but it was neat the way they had a. And I don't know if they have that anymore, like a sanctuary for, you know, the guy that was on Roseanne or something, man.
You know what? I don't know. I mean, well, shit, the kid from Roseanne went on to be Leonard in Big Bang Theory. And
that guy's done a lot of work.
You know, all kinds of stuff. John Goodman's done all kinds of things.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
maybe Roseanne's a bad example. But
well,
I mean,
but no, I get it. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Bud Bundy from all of, that's a show you didn't mention.
Well, you mentioned Last Man Standing. What's his name? The boss on Last Man Standing.
Ed.
The old man, he was one of those studio actors back in the day. He was on all kinds of stuff in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, he was a big star. Yeah.
Rockford Files for sure. I remember seeing him.
What is his? George Lozano. I can't remember what his Hector Lozano. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But he's a phenomenal actor, man.
He is. He's great. Yeah. But that's one of those guys. Like, hey, I've done all kinds of stuff.
He's really good on Last Man Standing, too.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But that's about all I really had.
That's all you got?
Yeah, I was. You know, you covered most of the cop shows here. So,
all right. Well,
other than T.J. Hooker.
Well, I remember him, BJ and the Bear too.
So truck driver
wasn't that such a unique show idea for the time?
Well, you know,
or were they trying to play off of Every Which Way But Loose?
I always thought that was a homage.
They're like,
or a little bit of plagiarism towards
tap off that
movie.
money.
He was, instead of being a rugged, you know,
brawler.
He was more of a good-looking dude with a monkey.
Drives a truck, yeah,
because if you ever noticed, he never had any freight in the truck.
That's how do you make
money.
Yeah, he must have been running drugs.
Yeah, it was like, how do you get
on the
DL? Paid?
He's running stuff for the cartel and the DL, you know.
Even then, where are you keeping it at?
It's no talk about it on the show.
Well, you got to remember, truck drivers were kind of glorified back then, you know.
They're very important.
Yeah, well, back in the old days when, you know, you had to drive the double nickel, you know, 55.
Yeah.
You had your CB.
White Line Fever.
You had the over-the-road truck drivers were kind of heroish. You know, they made movies about them. White Line Fever was one of them.
Yeah. Oh, you got anything else you want to add, man, before we get out of here?
Guy, Convoy, you know?
Yeah.
Where you at? I won't work, damn it.
You got anything else?
Horatio, I knew him. No, other than this has been a good episode. Like I said, going through this list and come across so much stuff, we could spend a whole day talking about this.
It's like you said, television. How many television shows are there?
This is where I get in trouble. Is people come to me, when I'm in a conversation with somebody, and you expect some kind of like halfway intellectual conversation, and all I really know about is old TV shows and stuff.
And facts, random facts and stuff.
Yeah, if somebody came to me and said, Lee, what would you do to fix the economy? I'd be, well, I can't tell you what I would do to fix the economy, but if you want to know a whole shitload about the Partridge Family, I'm your guy.
All right, guys. I think we're going to close out on that. So, all right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of In the Round with Andrew Taylor and Lee. We really appreciate it. We are at over 22 countries and 120 cities, something like that. So we really appreciate you tuning in. Check us out on all podcast platforms. I mean, all of them, any of them, man. Wherever you can get podcasts, we are there. We also have a YouTube channel now, so please go check us out over there. We put all the new episodes up, full length on YouTube, and some clips too. And follow us on Facebook at In The Round AZ, or just type in The Round with Andrew Taylor and Lee. Find us on social media. You can find Lee on Facebook at Lee Tonin. You can find me on Instagram at Andrew Taylor Radio. Get at us, man. Send us questions. Be in touch. Keep listening, and we will see you next time. Take care of yourself, take care of your friends and family, and we'll see you next time. Good night.